On that Saturday, Stella got dressed as usual and left the house. After she left, Tunde took Ebunlowa into his bedroom. Unfortunately for him, this time, he didn't bother to lock the door like he used to. Stella quietly returned to the house about 30 minutes after she left. She quietly walked to Tunde's room. She opened the door and got the greatest shock of her life. Stella almost collapsed out of shock at the sight of what she saw. It all began when the popular Lagos caterer Stella and Ankiola got married in a private wedding with no more than 20 people in attendance. They had met at a dinner party where Stella was the caterer. Akinola enjoyed the food so much and decided to go commend the caterer. "I enjoyed your meal, madam. Thank you so much and keep it up. Your husband is really lucky," Akinola said when he approached her. Stella smiled, revealing her beautiful set of white teeth. "Thank you so much for your compliment, sir. But I'm not yet married," she said calmly. She gave Akinola her business card and asked him to call her for his defense. They became friends afterwards, and their friendship grew into a romantic relationship, which led to marriage. Akinola, who was the head of the marketing team of Diamond Bank in Lagos, seemed to be like an answered prayer, a loving and supportive husband, and Stella felt like her dream of having a beautiful marriage were finally coming true. Stella became pregnant immediately after their wedding, and they welcomed a beautiful baby girl after 9 months. The arrival of their daughter brought even more joy, but what Stella didn't know was that the same family she trusted would threaten to shatter their happiness in unimaginable ways. His baby was named Ebun Oluwa, Akiola's 22-year-old younger brother. Tunde was living with them when he got married to Stella. He had recently wrote JAMB and was waiting to be admitted into the university. When Stella moved in after their wedding, she had wanted to tell her husband to send Tunde back to his old mother in the village because she wanted a more private marriage life. But on a second thought, she let it slide. "If I do that, they will tag me a bad wife," she thought to herself. She eventually began to love Tunde so much like her own brother because he was really helpful around the house. About 3 months after the birth of Ebunoluwa, her husband, Akinola, was transferred to Diamond Bank, Ibadan branch out in Oyote. He moved to Ibadan, leaving Tunde behind with his wife in Lagos. He visited them once or twice in a month. Being a mom without a house help and any elder around to help her, Tunde was helpful, always ready to lend Stella a hand. Stella had stopped taking catering jobs after she had her daughter. However, a mouth-watering offer came from the governor's office after Ebunoluwa clocked 6 months, and Stella couldn't turn it down. She took the baby along and made one of her workers attend to her while she prepared food. Ebunoluwa, being a clingy child, cried so much that day, and Stella could barely concentrate on her work. She explained her ordeal to Tunde when she returned home. "I can take care of her while you go to work, since she is fond of me," he answered her. Stella thought for a while. Ebunluwa was actually very fond of her uncle. She had to make a choice. With Akinola at work and Tunde readily available, leaving Ebunluwa with him seemed like the perfect arrangement. "It is just once in a week she can stay with you," she told Tunde. Little did she know that this decision would haunt her. Tunde's relationship with Ebunluwa started off normally. He would sing to her, rock her to sleep, and ensure she was well fed. Stella felt reassured. She believed Tunde was the ideal uncle, loving, protective, and trustworthy. But behind the marks of kindness, her soul was ruined. She began to leave her baby in his care whenever she had an event to cater. She returned home every time to either leave her baby sleeping soundly or playing cheerfully with her uncle. This gave her so much joy and she felt very relaxed. Tunde grew overly attached to the baby, volunteering to watch over her even when Stella was around. Stella didn't think much of it. She simply saw it as an uncle-niece relationship. Tunde's admission application had failed, and he was preparing to retake another exam. He suddenly began to develop some urge, which needed satisfaction. He looked at Ebunla one day and decided to try something out with her when her mom was away. Just after Ebunla's first birthday, Stella informed Tunde that she had a very big event to cover by weekend. "Ebunla will be with you as usual while I go to work," she informed him. "Sure, anything for you and my beautiful niece," Tunde replied with a broad smile. That weekend, Stella left for the catering job, feeling confident that Tunde would take care of Ebunla. But this time, something went wrong. After Tunde was sure that Stella was gone, he locked the door with the key, took Ebunla into their smaller living room and had her give him a suck. Ebunla innocently did it. After he was satisfied, she began to cry. Tunde felt very good after the act. He decided to continue, knowing that Ebunla was too small to make a report about this act. The next time Stella got another catering job and left Ebunla with him, Tunde deliberately refused to feed her, making sure she was very hungry before he took her to the room and repeatedly do the same acts. This time, Ebunla did it with all her strength because she was very, very hungry. Tunde was very happy. He fed her after the acts and rocked her to sleep. This became Tunde's routine every time Stella was away, and he always looked forward to such moments. Ebunla began to cry whenever she was with Tunde, and Stella noticed it, but she dismissed it as one of her baby's mood swings. The baby also began to cry whenever Stella was going out, which was unlike her. Again, she ignored it, and soon they continued with his evil acts. One night, Stella woke up with a shout. She had a dream where she saw Ebun Oluwa crying out to her, trying to tell her something which she obviously did not understand. Her heart was racing so fast, and seeing Ebun Oluwa in that state really broke her heart. When she woke up, she checked on her baby, who was sleeping peacefully beside her. She cautioned herself for worrying unnecessarily, but the feeling of unease wouldn't go away. It was as though her instincts were warning her of something she couldn't see yet. Then one day, Ebun Oluwa became sick. It started as a mid fever at first, and then it got worse after 2 days. Stella called her husband and told him about it. Akin Oluwa was away in Ghana, representing his bank at a conference at that time. He asked her to take Ebun Oluwa to the hospital immediately. "I will come home as soon as I return to the country," he added. Stella took Ebun Oluwa to the hospital, where a series of tests were carried out on her. But the doctor found nothing wrong with her. Then he ordered for more tests using her urine samples. The results were sent to the doctor, who stared at it in disbelief. He invited Stella into his office to discuss the test results with her. "Your daughter has chlamydia, which is an STI. I'm sorry, but I think someone has been touching your daughter," he said to her. Stella stared at the doctor in shock. "That is not possible, doctor. Nobody is touching my daughter, and she is intact down below. There is no sign of pain whatsoever from that area." Stella defended. The doctor ignored her defense and went on. "We will place her on some medication and she will be fine. Thankfully, it is a treatable ailment," he informed her. After she returned to her daughter's ward, Stella stared at Ebun Oluwa, who was sleeping soundly on the hospital bed. How did her daughter come in contact with such ailments? She wondered. She trusted Tunde so much that she refused to believe he could be the one behind it. Besides, Ebun Oluwa was okay down below. She concluded that there was a mix-up somewhere. However, she decided to make her findings just to further clear her doubts. After her daughter was discharged, she lied to Tunde again that she was going out to work on the weekend. Tunde was very happy once again and couldn't wait for the weekend to come. On that Saturday, Stella got dressed as usual and left the house. After she left, Tunde took Ebun Oluwa into his room. Unfortunately for him, this time he didn't bother to lock the door like he used to. Stella quietly returned to the house about 30 minutes after she left. The house was unusually quiet. She quietly walked to Tunde's room when she couldn't find him in the 2 living rooms. She opened the door and got the greatest shock of her life. Stella almost collapsed out of shock at the sight of what she saw. Ebun Oluwa began to cry immediately she saw her mother. Stella comes into the room and began to scream at the top of her voice. Tunde stammered, trying to cover his tracks, but Stella's anger couldn't be contained. She caught him red-handed, and there was no way he could deny it. Stella grabbed her baby, shielding her away from the man she had once trusted. Akinola, who was already back from Ghana, returned home moments later to spend the weekend with his family. Stella narrated her discovery and the results from the hospital to her husband. Formed between loyalty to his brother and his love for his wife, Akinola struggled to understand what had happened. He sent Tunde packing immediately. Stella demanded justice. The couple faced pressure from family members who wanted to keep the incident a secret. But Stella refused to back down. She was determined to protect Ebun and ensure that Tunde faced the consequences of his actions. She didn't care if that would end her marriage. She wanted to file a report to ensure that Tunde's action did not go unpunished. But her husband begged her not to. What Tunde did was very bad, I agree. But we have to handle this with wisdom. You are still married to me. How do you expect my family to see us if Tunde goes to prison? I have sent him away and he is never coming back. Please, let us forget about it and move on, he begged her. Stella burst into tears and cried bitterly. I can't believe I was that careless. My baby gave me signs, but I ignored it all. My instincts warned me, but I still did not pay attention. I have my faults too, she said as she continues to cry. Akiola pulled her to himself in a warm embrace, apologizing repeatedly for trusting Tunde. Together, they vowed to review their lives and create a safer environment for Ebunoluwa. Stella decided to let go, although the emotional scars remained. Each time she remembered the scene, she cried. Stella and Akionwa decided to go for counseling to help them heal and find closure. Akionwa moved his wife and daughter to live with him in Ibadan, while he put up his other apartments for rent. Their love grew stronger, rooted in the lessons they had learned through their pain. Dear mothers, your children are your greatest treasure, and their safety is your highest priority. In a world where trust is often betrayed, be vigilant about who you leave your daughters with. Remember, the ones you trust most can sometimes be the ones to harm them the deepest. Never assume anyone is above suspicion, and listen to your instincts. Teach your daughters how to speak up, to know their worth, and to recognize when something feels wrong. Your care, your love, and your protection can shield them from the scars of abuse. Their innocence is precious. Guide it with everything you have. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, as I'm just getting started with giving you a mind-blowing stories. You will definitely enjoy your time on my channel. Comment below where you are watching from. Bye for now.